It was a wild afternoon in the House of Commons. NDP Leader Jagmeet Singh confronted a Bloc MP during a motion about systemic racism. It led to Singh being booted from the session.
Pursuant to the authority granted to me by Standing Order 11, I order you withdrawn from the House for the remainder of this sitting day.
The CBC's Vashi Kapellos has been following all of the developments from Ottawa. Vashi, take us through what happened.
Hi, Carol. Yeah, it's certainly our eyes were on the House of Commons this afternoon because, of course, the government faces a confidence vote on some supplementary estimates. So money, basically, they're entering into the House what they're going to spend on these COVID-19 efforts and what they have spent. We were watching that, and all of a sudden, this broke out, what you just played, and kind of took everyone aback. What happened, according to, I'll give you the perspective of Mr. Singh first, is that he introduced a motion that ascribed a number of things, but mainly was focused on the idea that there is systemic racism in the RCMP. That's what he wanted, unanimous consent from everyone, all the politicians gathered around him, that they would support that statement. He didn't get that unanimous consent from his perspective, he says, because the Bloc Québécois, one member of parliament for the Bloc, did not support it. And when he decided not to vote for it, Mr. Singh saw this MP kind of move his hand, and I'm mimicking how Mr. Singh described it, and he interpreted that as very dismissive. Mr. Singh then called that member of parliament a racist, and the speaker ended up ejecting him because that's not something that you can say in parliament. Later, he held a press conference. He described how he felt in that moment. I think we have a clip of that. I want to play it for you right now before I get into what the Bloc says happened from their perspective. Can we play that clip?
And in that moment, I got angry. I'll be honest, I got angry. But I'm sad now. Because why can't we act? Why can't we do something to save people's lives? We can do something. And why would someone say no to that? Glad these waters are here. Give me a second.
So you can see and you can hear there, Carol, a really emotional Mr. Singh addressing this. I think that press conference happened about maybe about an hour after the incident in the House of Commons. And to add some context around all of this, that motion comes on the heels of what you and I have been covering day in and day out over the last month. Very heightened conversations about racism and the intersection of racism and policing, particularly in this country. Yes, the conversation started south of the border, but certainly we've seen examples of the punctuation of those discussions often over the past number of days. And Mr. Singh, as the only racialized leader of a political party in this country, has been speaking out quite often on it as well. And as you can see, the reaction that he says he got in the House of Commons from that member certainly made him very emotional. Right. And he actually ended up saying that he thought anyone who voted against that motion was a racist. And he didn't say that in the House of Commons, where you have some immunity from punishment. He said it outside the House of Commons, which of course is pretty serious. And I want to make sure I tell you what the Bloc Québécois
That's what I was just about to ask you.
Yeah, okay, go. Yeah, sorry about that. So from the Bloc's perspective, they are denying the accusation that Mr. Singh is making. And instead, their argument is that they had agreed as a party and voted to, or at least supported the idea of the Public Safety Committee convening in order to look at that very specific question of systemic racism in the RCMP. And they believe that that was the place to examine the issue, and they wanted to see what the outcome of that committee's work would be before they made a decision about, or before they supported the motion put forth by Mr. Singh. So that is the rationale that they've put forward. I haven't heard the leader of the Bloc Québécois, Yves-François Blanchet, speak out. This was not about him. It was about another member, Mr. Singh says. But I imagine there will be a lot of reaction to this over the coming days. And that is because of sort of that wider context that I alluded to, right? Everybody is talking about this issue right now and how it really permeates all of the institutions in this country. What we saw this afternoon is that it's also permeated, whatever way you look at it, the institution that we call the House of Commons.
All right, Vashi Kapellos, host of Power and Politics, thank you for joining us from Ottawa tonight.
Thanks, Carol.